Second in Masters Berlin, second in the NA Challengers Grand Final, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Not able to do much. The shock dart swings through his finesse pop, but Fox gets 3! Finesse left alone, and it happens! The green wall shows its cracks as the North American representatives fall.
FNS has been chasing glory for most of his career.
CS was basically my entire life, so being able to switch out of it was difficult for me. But as soon as I switched to Valorant, there were no regrets. I didn't look back and say why did I do it?
But even in a new game, FNS still struggled.
What is this, a divine comedy for Dante's Inferno by Saya Player? 1v1 with Crash!
No, what?
Bang!
After trying and failing to win something for so many years, FNS didn't have many shots left. But fate gave him one more chance to lead his team to glory.
And FNS? How are you still doing this?
It's too late.
No way! FNS! Unbelievable teams!
Tournament life in your hands, Optic on the verge, and it's all but over, it's all but done! Optic Gaming build their legacy brick by brick! The green wall of Optic make Reykjavik their own!
Hey folks, before we get into the video, I want to let you know that we've got a new show coming your way. It's called Worth, and it's about the greatest stories in esports that are worth telling. You can check it out on June 2nd, so make sure to please sub to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. FNS has been around in esports longer than almost anyone, but despite his years of competing for most of his career, he struggled. FNS dedicated nearly a decade of his life to leading CSGO teams to some of the game's biggest stages, and then losing once they got there. Every time one of his teams looked poised to break into the upper echelon of the global CS scene, they always fell short.
It's just one man, it is Cutler, the in-game leader. He can't do anything. It is Na'Vi that will face Envious tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Once again, it is such a sad, sad story for CLG fans.
Kid has a smoke, has whatever he wants for utility, but not much of a chance, let's be honest.
They're all gonna peek him now, and that is it. Liquid will move on. Not only get to play in the grand final for a little bit of cash, but they will go to the offline final close qualifier for the major.
FNS was usually the first one on the chopping block when things went south. He hopped from team to team for years, and every time it seemed like he finally had something special, everything would come crashing down on him yet again. By 2020, FNS's career looked over. His team was literally orgless, and as the COVID-19 pandemic hit, many North American teams pulled out of Counter-Strike altogether. So without any funding, this up-and-coming roster was basically forced to switch to Valorant in April 2020. FNS was hesitant to make the switch, but he realized pretty quickly that it was a necessary change.
CS was basically my entire life, so being able to switch out of it was difficult for me. But as soon as I switched to Valorant, there were no regrets. I didn't look back and say why did I do it?
Now, unfortunately for FNS, most of his former CS teammates switched games long before him, and were already part of established Valorant teams. So once again, he was forced to build a new team from the ground up.
P2 answers back, it's a 2v3, and the spike's about to hit the site. Outside, they have inside, it's Caboose long range, only one to go. He's done it before, but not this time. Crashies gets the last kill. Envy wins that second map, 13-7, and the series and the champions to the sky. Cloud9 Invitational is now possessed and crowned by Envy.
Envy quickly became known as one of the best Valorant rosters in NA. FNS had years of IGL experience, and once they picked up Victor and Crashies from T1, they seemed unstoppable. But there was one big problem. Envy just couldn't win when it mattered most.
Only a few seconds left, but folks, this could very well be it. Envy's life in the tournament on the line here. The push comes through, and Wardell locks it in. TSM are going to the grand finals of First Strike.
Right through the smoke, shots come through, the spike is sticky, he's gotta run over, he's gotta defuse it, he's gotta find the time. But that is the one thing Envy lacked. Congratulations to 100 Thieves for moving on to the grand final.
Aaron finds another. He's got the classic in hand. He can't find 4, but the Bucky is there. Now Finesse has to go huge. They had the rifles, but it doesn't matter. Xset win the rematch.
You could count on them to go deep at almost any tournament. And you could also count on them to fall short every time. FNS was reliving his CSGO career all over again. he sat on the sidelines and watched as other teams were hailed as the best in NA. Envy tried everything. They shook up their roster ahead of Masters Berlin and things looked great. Until they didn't. And FNS was sent home with yet another loss on his record.
Crashes could have slipped back towards DT or sat deeper, but they have now 3-4 on the site. But Envy and Crash is just watching as one dashes on past, but it's Defo! How's he found that? FNS has fallen, Ye still stands, as does Victor, but only for so long! Gambit have just butchered Envy! Envy, come on, you gotta make this happen. Chronicle, he walks through and destroys Envy! 3 back-to-back frags, and it might be 4 in a second. He's on the chopping block. Gambit have made it to 12. It's all going to pieces. Nicole, in the final moments, has just shone so brightly there, blinded by the lights. Gambit are the Valorant Masters champions.
And then, at Champions, it all happened all over again.
To pick their timings. FNS gets the first one. Victor, can he get the trade? He can. 1 versus 1. Victor for Envy, but it's Zeke who pulls it out of the bag and Ascend get the defuse.
They're moving to the A site. Cruz will try to hold on, and he gets away with 3. The lockdown will do absolutely nothing. X10 have the advantage in a 2v1 in the playoffs. The stun to the backside. Oh, they're going to eliminate Sushi Boy to start with, but Patty is still going strong on the backside. Oh, and through the Cloudburst, comes the Blade Storm, and it's not even needed. Scary closes it out, and SCA are going all the way to playoffs.
Envy's season ended in disaster. FNS was right back where he started, and the losses were piling up. Going to 2022, he and his team had a lot to prove.
Rise looking really good, but Marv and Ye are both left alive right now, and they're going to go for this one. The Cosmic Divide comes in, they're going to try to force the issue. Beyond the wall, Marv goes in and gets taken down. Rise take down Optic in this thrilling best of 3 here.
FNS and Optic got off to a rough start in 2022. They had a pretty shaky group stage in Stage 1 Challengers and barely clinched a playoff spot. After a performance that shaky, it seemed like FNS was once again doomed to repeat history. But then, Optic went on a tear in the playoffs.
As it all falls onto Def, the leader for XZ. Nothing doing this time around. Optic take down XZ 2-1 fashion.
Crashies will close it out. There's no way to hang on. And Optic have done it. They dethrone the Kings. And they're 1 step closer to representing North America and Iceland.
Now up to net. He falls down as well. And Sio player is going to have to try to clutch a 3v1. He does get those 2 kills, but that's not enough. Be envious of the green wall.
But unfortunately, despite all their wins, Optic fell short in the grand finals yet again.
But is this a divine comedy for Dante's Inferno by Saya player? 1v1 with Crash!
No, what?
Bang! Saya player for the double! And as the green wall crumbles, it's 5 fresh faces who now stand guard over the North American region.
Even though they lost, Optic's playoffs run guaranteed them a spot in Iceland to represent NA as one of the region's best teams. But once again, they weren't the best team from NA. And their first group stage opponents immediately reminded them of that.
He's gotten 2, he needs 1 more.
He's low.
He only has 2 bullets to his name. Finesse, patient, waiting. No shot, he sticks it. No shot, he sticks it, my goodness! Like a thief in the night! Not able to do much. The shock dart swings through his Finesse pop, but Fox gets 3! Finesse left alone, and it happens! The green wall shows its cracks as the North American representatives fall to Xerxia from Thailand.
This wasn't them kind of like playing against an Optic that was crumbling under the pressure.
Yeah.
That was what it was last time they played, right? That was the kind of makeup of it. You know, Victor obviously also having COVID at the time then. I mean, Jess, you were saying it. I mean, there's no more excuses.
No.
Xerxia beat Optic at Champions in December, and now they embarrassed them at Masters. That loss put Optic on the verge of elimination. They bounced back by taking down Crew in the lower bracket, but with only 1 spot left in the playoffs, they'd have to beat Xerxia to make it. But this time, things were different. FNS had a little trick up his sleeve for the rematch.
Sushi boys now. Let's see if they do hard clear left, because that is going to be the next problem. They do. Victor clears out Sushi and around the back of the side, surfs around, and he knows he's in trouble. How does he find this pick? How does he stay alive? He can't, because Marv is behind him. Ye's right there, and it's a shutdown. Blink and you miss it. You might just miss this whole game. But right, setting pace like this, they rinse and repeat, and they're going to have to be trying to predict those next adjustments, those adaptations, and that's exactly it. Caught in no man's land. Oh, Victor just slicing through them like a hot knife through butter. A tap on the spike. And they're desperate to hold on towards long, and it's still looking messy! Oh, no way does it happen like this! Heartbreak for Xerxia, as just take it away from them. What a statement game.
Xerxia just didn't have an answer for Victor's Neon. He dominated the series with a server-high 291 ACS to catapult Optic into the playoffs. Even though they lost their opening match to the same team, FNS got his roster into shape for the perfect moment. He refused to lose again.
25 seconds left. They're just trying to squeeze it out. Valen, the third for him, swings through. FNS into the back. He's so low, but he drops down. Valen is finding the fire rate, and the swing again is there. FNS, what a performance. Shuts it down. Wasn't easy for them, not in the slightest. They are going to be moving forwards in that upper bracket.
What an insane comeback!
In the next series, Optic played perfectly around Victor again, taking down the guard as revenge for their loss back at Challengers. Optic showed that the Neon pick wasn't just a gimmick. Although other teams tried it in the past, FNS found a way to perfect it. But he'd need more than just innovation to win. Don't forget, FNS had been here before. Almost on top of the world, but not quite there. The only other teams left in the tournament were favorites to win it all, and Optic had a history of choking. But this time, they were ready for a challenge.
They are just swinging him down. Crashy's desperate to try and do it. But now time. Has he bought enough time? On the defuse. Just gonna hold this down as best they can and pray and hold their breath. DRX, I thought they had the jump on that. I thought they'd have had that on the money, but Ye's managed to slip in as well. Slip the net. He's going to isolate one. Ye doing so nicely here. Beautiful work from Optic to handle that, because that looked good from DRX. Pops the ult. We wait for Buzz to try and get closer here. Everything in the next moment. It's Ye to do it, and it's Optic, the masters of disaster.
After taking down DRX, Optic's next opponent was the Brazilian super team, Loud. Since forming back in January, Loud hadn't lost a single match. They dominated Brazil, and they were dominating in Iceland.
He comes up and over the site, clearing out everything. They know that he's on the back. Pancata trying to hold on. He'll get 1, 2, in fact. Pancata has clutched it out. Not quite working, not quite going as far up as they wanted. Good pick out of Aspis. Up against opponents with no shields to play with here. Essentially has an operator to work with, and look at him making it work left, right, and center. 3 kills, make it 4 in the event. All these angles opening up for Loud, and the kills are going their way. It's left to Finesse, and he falls as well. Brazil have done it. They've made history as they go all the way to the grand finals.
This was Optic's last chance. FNS knew the pain of coming so close to victory and losing, but he wasn't about to give up yet. But if FNS wanted revenge and a chance at victory, he'd have to face a truly unstoppable force. Zeta Division were tearing through the bracket in Iceland. They weren't just an incredible Cinderella story. Against all odds, they beat some of the best teams in the entire world.
When I speak of unheard of, I really have to throw back to the fact that Japan as a whole region in tactical FPS has only ever made it to a top 3, top 4 position before in Rainbow Six Siege back in 2019 Six Invitational. There are some serious gunners in Japan, and they've done what is now set history for Japan in tactical FPS.
But FNS wanted his rematch with Loud. He wanted to win. And Zeta's magical run wasn't going to stop him.
No stars for Sugar Zero to maybe pull him off the plant. But they're just already taking this. Sugar Zero's just diving in. No help from the rest of his team, and the trademark as well, that slow field. Brutal to try and push through, now to stun. Only the one connection, a quick flick though. Marv is already finding the value for them alongside it. Still left alone, Crow wants to try and get it. The spam through so low, but time, it's running out. He has to stick it. The circle shrinking. Marv swings it at the perfect time once more.
Optic stomped Zeta 3-0 and earned their rematch against Loud. But this time, they weren't going to make the same mistakes. Despite coming into the grand finals at a huge disadvantage due to map vetoes, FNS and his coaching staff made sure that the second time around, they were ready for everything Loud threw at them.
Marv, he's behind him. No, he's going to just unleash. Yeah, finds Sassy, swings in, finds another. Marv digs deep when they need it, but it's still a 2v2, and we've seen these have problems. You've got to look towards CT as well. Keep that going in the back of your mind. Who gets this shot? It's Marv. They've suddenly got a new way to defend this. Crash is just trying to play the time. Try and buy a little bit of moment here. And FNS, how are you still doing this?
It's too late.
No way! FNS! Unbelievable teams! Dress the site. First fight found for Crashies. Quick turn, didn't note anyone towards double doors. Yay! No way! Marv as well! And El Pancada. Tournament life in your hands. Optic on the verge, and it's all but over. It's all but done. Optic Gaming build their legacy brick by brick. The green wall of Optic make Reykjavik their own.
Optic swept Loud in the grand finals in large part thanks to FNS's shot calling. After years of falling short of glory, he finally had his first international title. And his teammates did too.
Anything you want to say to your fans out there?
Thank you guys so much for supporting us. We came in today super confident, ready to win. Thank you guys again for the support. It just means the world to all of us.
Optic were happy to finally get their hands on the Masters trophy. But for FNS, this win meant everything. FNS grinded for the past decade, searching for his first big win. At 30 years old, he came to Iceland as the oldest player at the entire tournament. And after dealing with ups and downs through his entire career, he finally had his moment.
It just feels good to have this roster get a championship because it felt earned. You know, it felt earned for a while, and it felt like we were grinding enough and practicing enough to where we reached a championship level. So I'm glad that we finally won.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.